4 years ago, I took 3 years of living money out of my retirement account to live on while I decided to explore my life in an unusual way. I recount this in the Living an Extraordinary Life presentation, so I'll give you the URL later so I don't have to repeat it now. That was insane. That was absolutely insane to take 3 years of living money out of my retirement account at my age, because I don't have that long runway saved up in my retirement account. The third person narrative was, holy crap, you're doing something crazy. There's also another narrative that you have that your narrative brain is finished. It's not just the third person narratives that repeats for the people around you. It also has second person narratives. This is the, oh my God, what do they think of me? Here I am talking to people. How should I be talking? How should I be moving? Is my collar in? Should I wear a jacket or not? I need to make sure they approve of me. If they don't approve of me, my life is over. Oh my God, they have to approve of me. What do I have to say to people? You know what? I'll say something witty. What's what? No, black and white, they probably know that one. Oh my God, they're going to think I'm trite. So on and so forth, right? This morning, I was trying to decide what shoes to wear here. Since you're not a traditional business audience, I figured that I could wear my bright fluorescent multicolored shoes. And then I was like, but those are bright fluorescent, they don't really go with the rest of the outfit. Maybe I should wear my yellow shoes. These are from Seussical Footlight Club 2 years ago, by the way. I had to buy these, and when am I ever going to wear them again? Now I know. And I thought, well, you know, if I wear the yellow shoes, I'll still look sort of kind of artsy, and it'll be fun for me, but people aren't going to criticize the fact because the tone of yellow goes more. I was actually thinking, this is actually what I was saying as I was going out of the door this morning. This is the second person narrative. This is the, oh my God, you are so self-absorbed. Other people are busy thinking that about their own shoes. They're not going to hear And then the last narrative that our narrative brain goes through is the first person narrative. It's the I'm an actor. I'm going to use that example a lot since it's obviously close to my heart. And I'm going to go to an acting class, and oh my God, this room is full of 19-year-olds who have a 9-octave range. They've never heard of the idea that your voice should have a break in it somewhere. He's tap dancing and doing ballet at the same time while doing a handstand. I am a complete and utter failure. I will never ever be able to do any of this. And let me tell you something. The first person narrative is typically by far the most brutal of all of the three. Because that's the one that gets you to start doing things that you don't want to do and stop doing things that you do want to do before you've even given it a shot to find out whether or not it's going to work. And if you do give it a shot and it fails, that's the voice that isn't going to let you off the hook and it's going to tell you you can't do this again because it failed. So now you need to go back to that cubicle, get a good safe job, just like your third person narrative said. We all have a narrative self, and it's our narrative self that controls most of what we do. Yeah, we also have another self, and that's our experiential self. Now this is actually a different part of your brain, interestingly enough. Your experiential self is the self that in the moment feels and experiences and is happy and is not. If I were to stop you every 10 minutes over the course of the day and say, are you happy right now on a scale of 1 to 10? And had you just notice whether or not you were happy in that moment. At the end of the day, we would have a record of your actual happiness. And if I were then to say, was today a happy day? If the last thing that had happened is that someone had spilled red wine on your favorite white jacket, you would say no. The whole day was a horrible day. It sucked. I would have this record showing that you said you were happy every single moment up until that wine spilled. But it doesn't matter, because your narrative brain only pays attention to the bad stuff, and the first and the last stuff, and the stuff that's most emotionally powerful, and it just edits out all the rest. But the experiential brain is where you live moment to moment. My very first acting experience was in Evil Dead the Musical, put on by the same MIT group that had done Bear. And I played, yes, finally, only 37 years after second grade, I got to be the dancing tree, which I hadn't gotten to do in second grade, which is probably why I hadn't done theater for all that time. Now, of course, Evil Dead the musical, The Dancing Tree, also rapes someone, so it's not quite the childhood innocent version that I had imagined back in second grade. But I got to be the dancing tree. When I came off of the stage, I was talking to my boyfriend, and he said, "How was it?" And I said, "You know what, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being like the best thing I've ever done before in my life, what is it, 20? And I didn't know the scale went up to 20. Because I had always let myself be constrained by my beliefs about what I should do, what I thought was risky. And what I had been calling a 10 was only a 5, and I didn't know it. And now that I have a new 10, this could still be way lower. There may be something out there that will make this seem like a 5. But the point is, my narrative self had no idea that this would be a 20 for me. And my experiential self had a completely different experience. You are in the profession you're in because of your experiential self, not because of your narrative self. You have chosen a profession that you love doing, not because you have this wonderful story about how societally acceptable it is, and about how great people will think you are for doing it, although some of you might think that. I have a few people who have aspirations. But this is the thing you do because your experiential self factors into your decision making. Which means if you have any problems with concepts of success, it's all coming from your narrative self. So we're going to actually delve in and do some thinking about how do we get our narrative selves under control? How do we notice the narratives that we're telling that are creating our experience of success or not? And then how do we change those if we need to? Now, first of all, you have these two different brains, the narrative and the experiential. And it's not that one is better than the other, because the narrative one is the one that plans. The experiential one is so in the moment that you don't necessarily think about the consequences of things. You don't necessarily have any ability to plan. You're very caught up in emotions and possibly making decisions based on emotions rather than logic. You should do it the other way around. So you want both brains to engage. But you want to do it in a particular way. You want to let your goals be set by your emotional and experiential brain. And you want the planning to be done by your narrative brain. One more thing, and then we'll actually do an exercise.